Hello, hello, and welcome back to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. I am your host, Jessica Gerlach, and on this episode, we're going to be talking about looking back. I want to look back at, well, I have been looking back at how far I've come. And sometimes that's a good, you know, puts life into perspective a little bit. So I want to talk about the journey, and not in the sense of weight loss so much, but in the sense of mindset. I think that's important because my mindset has definitely changed, and I think that has changed the outcome of my life. So I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about mental health awareness, how I am fascinated with reality TV and the correlation between reality TV and mental health awareness. I think it is important to get that younger demographic. And I'm also going to answer a listener's question that I've been thinking about for a couple weeks. So I want to start off by saying, behind every strong person, there is a story that has made them strong. You know, Nobody is really born as a strong, resilient individual. It's trials and tribulations that have made you become strong. So, as Kelly Clarkson would say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think it's important because we are given life is not a linear process. It's a up and down roller coaster that we have to we have to learn along the way. We have to go through emotions. We have to experience life. We have to experience, you know, everything that life has to give. We can't be sheltered. Um, but a strong person is somebody who really knows who they are. And to be honest, it hasn't been in the last couple years till I really have figured out who I really am. Because I can tell you, when I was in high school, I had no idea who I was. And that's okay. First of all, if your high school listeners are listening, it's okay to not know what you want to do with your life because we all feel that pressure too, kind of figure out what we want to do with our lives at such an early age. But I can tell you, I was watching a lot of Criminal Minds back then, and I wanted to be a police at one point. I wanted to be an officer. I wanted to do criminology. I went to school for interactive media and production. I wanted to be a graphic designer. I wanted to be that girl who made movie trailers. That was my dream job. I saw Cameron Diaz do it in The Holiday, and I thought, that's an awesome job. So I wanted to do, you know, make movie trailers. So, I thought in high school, that was my mindset is first of all, I didn't realize it at the time. I had to go through it, but I was in a rock bottom. I was trying to fit in where I don't think I was looking for the right things. I always felt different. I've spoken about that in my book. I've spoken about that on blogs. I've always felt unique. I've always felt like I didn't fit in. I had friends. I'm not saying I was a loner in any chance, but my mind was a very, I don't know, I always felt like I wasn't like the rest of the people my age, whether it be appearance, whether it be mindset, I don't know. But I was always interested in sports. I was always interested in pop culture, movies, but then I also had like things that like nobody like would understand is like I had a thing with Ozzy Osbourne at one point. So like, I was like my friends were like, "What's with your obsession with Ozzy Osbourne?" And I think I was like 13 years old. So like, yeah, there was some things about me that I always kind of, danced to my own beat. But now as a 32-year-old, I realize that's a superpower. That superpower that makes me unique is what created, like, I have realized I'm a very visual person. So I have put into perspective, if you're watching on YouTube right now, from high school, I think about it as like kind of like a lazy river ride. We're on the same ride, same ride, same ride. Then you go to college, you go to university, you start splitting off. But most people, do the marriage, the kids, especially women, sorry, marriage, the kids, career, whatever. But I kind of have got it a loop-de-loop. And like, yes, I did the college thing. Yes, I have an Ontario college diploma from Fanshawe College, and I completed that, which was great. Then I went on an internship where, as I said before, I wanted to be a I wanted to make movie trailers. So I started being a graphic designer. I got an amazing internship at the Walt Disney Company in downtown Toronto. I thought it was amazing. So, you start going different class. So then I started thinking, okay, career, career, career. Let's put career at number one, you know. And then I started thinking, well, what do I want to do that's different? And I realized that 9 months in the corporate world, I was meant to be an entrepreneur because I had all these ideas. I am a Gemini, I have like, the different sides. I understand we Geminis all have that perception, but we're unique individuals and we see things in different ways. And I always saw myself as a creative person. And in grade, I think it was 11, I did an entrepreneur class that it was probably one of my favorite classes in all of high school. And I really related to that. So I didn't understand how I was going to be an entrepreneur in some sense, but everything happens for a reason. So so I'm looking back, and I'm looking back when I was 22 working at Disney. I was overweight. I was in corporate world, and like now I'm looking back and I'm like, oh yeah, you didn't belong there. Like that makes sense, but I had to go through that, and I had to go through that. This is what I thought I wanted. And then I got out of the corporate world, and I'm like, oh, I'll just be an entrepreneur in graphic design. So I created my own business. I created Mindset Designs, and I did, promotional. I did all kinds of graphic designs. I was really good in Adobe. I was good in Photoshop. I'm really good in that kind of stuff. Again, using my strengths to make money, and thinking that entrepreneurial side. And then I realized, okay, so I'm kind of liking this working for my own, getting what I'm doing, people like my work, and that's an amazing. And then I'm realizing, oh, I'm still, we talk about that lazy river where most people are, going down the pathways of life. And I'm going on like another loop. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Now I'm going to make a change in my life. I'm going to take care of my health, and I'm going to put my health on top of my career. And, so it was like, most people, it's like, especially women, it's like marriage, kids, and then career. And then you put yourself as not a priority. But I put myself even before my health as a priority as number one. So it was health, career, marriage, and again, that's kind of how my brain worked. And again, and I always said mindset is everything. Mindset, the way you perceive. So I'm looking back, I'm continuing looking back, and I'm looking back to working for myself. I like this, but I need to take care of my health. So I start going to the gym. I start having a personal trainer. While I'm working for myself as a graphic designer, I'm losing 100 pounds. So then I'm thinking to myself, well, all these people are asking me, well, how am I doing it? And then it's like, oh, entrepreneur and brain of me is like, oh, this is another business opportunity. And it's not even a business opportunity. This is what I'm passionate about. I am passionate about everybody, personal development. Keep getting better, keep getting stronger. The whole idea of personal development, because I always look back at that 17-year-old girl who was depressed and anxious and in and out of hospitals and sick as a dog and didn't feel like I belonged and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, so it might have gone, as I said, it's not linear, but I've definitely, if you look back in the last 10 years or even more now, it's wow. look how far you've come. It's kind of like looking at the stock market, you know, it's like every day is small changes, ups and downs, but the trend is a positive trend. And that's kind of like how my brain is working. So then I wanted to say, okay, so I'm passionate about personal development. I'm passionate about people living their best, healthiest lifestyle, but I'm also passionate about advocacy for mental health because I realized that at 18 and 17, I didn't have, nobody talked about it. And nobody talked about being depressed. And I thought there just was something wrong with me. And that also kind of adds to that idea of I didn't feel like I fit in. Well, I felt like something was wrong with me. I just didn't know how to express it. And in high school, you know, I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to go to school. I really like I had friends, but I was distancing myself and it was not on purpose. It was, I just didn't feel like I belonged. And nobody could have done anything to make me feel more belonged because I had great friends. It was that depression of sometimes you just can't wake up. Sometimes, you know, you don't feel like you belong. Sometimes you don't feel like you're worth anything. Sometimes, you know, depression is shown in so many different ways. Depression showed in physical ways in me too. And so the importance of me now being on the other side of it and having gone through it and having gone through therapy and having gone through medication and now 15 years later, you know, really being able to say I'm happy. I'm not depressed. I never thought I'd see positive, like being able excited to wake up in the morning, seeing a positive light. And I could say at 32 I do. And I've come a long way on that. And that comes down to mindset is like, I remember when in high school, like there was days I didn't go and, you know, it just, I couldn't get out of bed. And that was depression. That was a low. That was rock bottom. So why I wanted to be talk about my journey is to hoping that my journey can help, you know, that high school girl that just doesn't even feel like she belongs, doesn't feel like she wakes up in the morning and, you know, doesn't want to go to school, doesn't want to go out to socialize. I get you. And so before COVID, I started public speaking. I went to a couple high schools to share my story because now I've realized my passion and I'm now at the age of 32, I believe I've realized my purpose. And that a lot of people can't say. I realized my purpose is to inspire people to live their best life, to inspire people to be healthy, have a healthy mindset, have a healthy body. And now I figured out looking back, maybe I was meant to go through all of that stuff when I was a teenager and a child to where I am now to be able to give back. And so I started talking about, you know, I did public speaking about in high schools, you know, and I saw that girl in the back of the class not paying attention. And I knew that was me. And I knew that even if one or two of my words got through her, I'd be okay with it. And then, you know, I spoke, you know, I realized that I was getting through to people because people just, there is that stigma still. And 10 years ago, there was more of a stigma around mental health. But I realized that I'm supposed to share my story. I'm supposed to share where I was back in high school, where I was as a kid, you know, not fitting in, being overweight, being depressed, all that stuff. It's all connected. And that now looking where I am at 32, that's personal development. That is so incredible to me as a visual person to see. Is like I've gone from rock bottom to being able, having the mindset of being able to do anything that I want to in life. And I think that's important. You know, I want to speak up for mental health awareness. I want to speak up. I blogged about it in the Huffington Post and Pop Sugar. I blogged about my story because it is important to talk about. If I could save a life, then my words mean everything. And I'm okay with that. I know that people don't talk about their mental health, whatever reason it may be. If you don't think that's a sign of strength, I believe vulnerability is a sign of strength. We talk about strong and being vulnerable, and me opening up to the most vulnerable times in my life to be able to help others save a life. That was my purpose, and that's my strength, and that's why, whether it be in blogs, whether it be in podcasts, whether it be whatever I do, whether it be my book, whether it be personal training, all the clients that I train, is I want to lift you up. I want you to be healthy and happy. I have lost friends to suicide. I don't want to lose anymore. We have to know that life is going to throw us curveballs, but we have to be strong. And that's why speaking out about mental health is so important to me. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about on, speaking up about mental health. And, so during COVID, I became a Bravo-holic, as you call them. I became really into watching Bravo TV. And one of the things that fascinated me with watching some of these shows was the personal development and seeing people that were at rock bottom build themselves up, having the strength to even speak. They have a platform. I have a small platform, but when somebody with a big platform speaks, people listen. And it's important to speak up that not everything's perfect. And what Bravo, reality TV shows is that it's not perfect, and I think that's a very important thing that I've was fascinated with is you look at some of these, Bravo stars. You look at Sheena Shea talk about her postpartum OCD. You talk about, Carl Radke with his sobriety journey. You think about, Rachel Leviss from Vanderpump Rules. She had to leave it because she was dealing with mental health. And first of all, whether you're on TV or whether you're not, people deal with mental health. If you don't take care of it properly, it's going to show. So what I thought was fascinating with watching like Vanderpump Rules and even Amanda Petullo on Summer House talking about her depression is I feel like I can connect. And isn't that what reality TV is all about? Is like, we're all kind of crazy. But if we can talk about it, if we can, first of all, number one, and I believe they talk about this in recovery, is admit you have a problem. And all these Bravo stars who admit that they have a problem and tell people, speak about it. Lala Kent has talked about that, she's sober and her sobriety journey. And, Gina Kirschenheimer from Real Housewives of Orange County, she's sober. And she talks about why she's sober. And Lisa Vanderpump lost her brother to suicide and now talks about suicide awareness. And all of these people have such a big platform. And if people feel like you're not alone, that's huge. And I think that people don't realize, like people think, oh, reality TV is terrible TV. But I've looked at it since I'm fascinated by personal development. I've always been into, biographies and learning about how people get from the bottom to the top. And it's never linear. And I think it's important to share. And reality TV, people say it's scripted, all this stuff, but all these people, these Bravo stars, have real issues. And if you use a platform like Bravo or like any other reality TV platforms or even podcasts and talk about that you know, you can have, I had depression when I was a teenager. I had to go through it. But I'm here to tell you, like, we're all those people I mentioned, early 20s, late 30s, there's real issues. And just because you're on TV, it just shows people like me that I'm not alone. And I don't think that's exposing people. I think that's showing the reality of the world is we all need to take care of our mental health. And it's all those people that I mentioned before are vulnerable and have strength and vulnerability to talk about their mental health. Or the first podcast this season, we had Oliver Saunders, which is Garcelle Bouvet's son, and he talked about his addiction. And you know what? That is going to make such a big difference because he had the strength to, realize that he needed to make a change. And whether it be drugs, we've talked about, whether it be what I had to go through with weight loss, and whether it be food, whether it be, we all can get better. And that's my purpose. That's the purpose of this podcast. That's my purpose of the book is we all can improve in life. Nobody is perfect. Absolutely nobody. And if you think people are perfect, you're nuts. But nobody is perfect. And it takes strength to get through life. And nobody's born with that. As I said in the first thing I said in this podcast was behind every strong person is a story that gave them no choice. Behind every person in reality TV, we all have to get through life. So if you realize you need to be sober, that's strength. If you realize, Jax Taylor, I got to meet, luckily, I am a huge fan, and I got to meet him at Jax's Studio City in June at the Valley season finale party. And I looked at him and I realized that's somebody who is sad. He puts on this villain character on TV, and I've said this, but really that guy is somebody who's dealing with a lot of issues. And I don't know what he's dealing with, and I can't say I do. But even spending that 5 minutes talking to him, taking that picture, he's a nice guy with a broken, like he needs to take care of his mental health. And he is, and that's important to see. But it's also important to see that as me is like, I knew how he felt and I knew how you could always improve. Everybody can improve. I think that talking about it, we never want to talk about the fact of losing somebody at such a young age. And if the vulnerability is, if you can be vulnerable and talk about your mental health and talk about how you feel and how, because if people are listening and if you have a platform, it's even more important because people can relate and I can relate. That's why I think I got lost in the Bravo world and I'm fascinated by it. I think all these Bravo celebrities, it takes vulnerability. It takes strength to put yourself out there for critics who mean nothing to you. But you have to be confident in yourself. And I think that people showing that they have problems with addictions, problems with mental health, problems with, PTSD, bipolar, anxiety, whatever it may be. We need to talk about it more. We need to say, hey guys, this is me. Because we all can work on ourselves. Each day is a new opportunity to get better, to see a better version of you. So I think that's important. Okay, let's move on. I got asked a question a couple weeks ago when I put out on social media, Ask Me Anything, is somebody asked me to put 5 strong people, dead or alive, that I would love to have a workout with. And I loved this question, but I needed time to process it. So I made the list and I'm going to count down. So number five, I would love to work out with Michelle Obama because I think she would be like a very motivational workout partner. I think she's very strong. I saw her do push-ups on the Ellen DeGeneres show all those years ago, and I think I could do a push-up contest with you, Michelle. So it's on. So number four, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think Arnold, I am on his male list, and his motivation and the fact that he's created from a healthy lifestyle to, being a movie star to being a governor of California. I think he has a very cool personal development from coming, as an immigrant into the U.S. So I think that's a very inspirational guy, and I think he could also teach me a few things about working out and getting some big muscles. As a 5 foot strong woman, I'd love to work out with you, Arnold. Number three is RBG. God bless. I think she was small. She was definitely 5 foot strong. I have spoken to her trainer, Brian Johnson, and she worked out right till the end. So I think her mindset, her strength, she took care of her health, and she lived as one of the best female Supreme Court justices in the US, in my opinion. I know I'm Canadian, so I have no opinion in that. Number two, Simone Biles, because she's also 5 foot strong. She has I love how she speaks also about her mental health. She's strong. She's powerful. She's a woman. I love supporting strong women. We're both about the same size. She's probably more flexible than I am, but maybe I can deadlift or squat more than her. I don't know. But I think she'd be awesome to work out with. And last one is Jason Momoa. I think, first of all, he's beautiful as a single straight woman. Jason, good stuff. And also because he does really cool workouts. I follow him on Instagram, and he's never just in the gym. He's rock climbing. He's, climbing stuff. He's working out in different ways. And I love to have the creativity in a workout. So I think we could have a really cool workout with Jason. So those are the five. I would love to have a workout with Michelle Obama, Arnold, RBG, Simone Biles, and definitely Jason Momoa. I love those five. I think they're all strong people, and I would love to work out with them. And I want to end with a healthy tip of advice for all you guys listening. I have been using manifestation recently. And I would say 2 years ago, I bought myself a regular padded paper from the dollar store, and I've been writing things down. And I believe the power of a pen and paper. In the last year and a bit, 2 years, I've been able to write, edit, publish my own book. As you can see, the 5 Foot Strong sorry, that was my bad. You Don't Make Friends with Salad, The Secret to Losing Weight and Feeling Better with No Kale in Sight, available on Amazon if you'd like to read that. That is from my pad and paper of manifestation. I wanted to write a book. The podcast, 2 seasons, we're almost through. That was through manifestation. Again, everything I do now that I have a purpose and I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, is to empower people, is to inspire and lift up and make sure that people live their healthiest lifestyles in their mind and in their bodies, because taking care of both is very, very important. You can't just take care of your body without taking care of your mind, vice versa. So I think that's very important. I think grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, write your goals. What do you want to see in your life? Everybody has room for growth, and being able to grow is strength. I want everybody to live their healthiest, happiest, and best life. And I want everybody to be able to be strong, whether you are a man, a woman, whatever gender you are. I am all about lifting you guys up. And whether it be physically as a personal trainer, which I loved doing, I love being able to end a workout with people saying, "Oh, that was an awesome workout." I know people don't like exercise, whatever, but the fact that you are doing something to improve your health is awesome. And whether it be the podcast, whether it be, you guys listening, whether it be, that's again, self-improvement and self-development. And whatever I do in life will be to lift you up physically and mentally. And so I want to end it there. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in to the 5 Foot Strong podcast. This is episode 8. We only got 2 more episodes left of season 2. I am so thankful for you guys all to be tuning in. Again, whether you are 5 feet tall like myself or 7 feet tall, we are all strong in our own unique and beautiful ways. Thank you guys all for listening and can't wait to speak to you guys next week. Have a great week.